Ladies and gentlemen, strength is often mistaken for brutality, and restraint is often confused with weakness. However, true power does not lie in the ability to dominate others through force alone. It lies in the capacity to control oneself, to rise above fleeting emotions, and to act with unwavering determination regardless of circumstance. Those who seek genuine power understand that emotions, while natural and sometimes necessary, must never be allowed to dictate one's actions. Instead, emotions must be mastered, understood, and ultimately harnessed in a way that serves a greater purpose rather than becoming an obstacle to it. The world is filled with people who make decisions based on feelings rather than logic. They allow anger, sorrow, fear, or excitement to steer their actions, often leading them down a path of regret. In contrast, those who truly understand power recognize that emotions, while intense, are temporary. Acting on them impulsively leads to inconsistency and instability. A person ruled by emotions is like a ship without a captain, constantly being tossed around by external forces, never truly in control of where they are headed. There is a reason why the strongest individuals, the ones who shape history, do not allow themselves to be consumed by sentiment. Emotions can be a weakness when they interfere with judgment, causing one to hesitate when they should act or to shout when they should remain calm. It is easy to feel wronged, to react with anger when insulted, or to become disheartened by failure. But to do so is to allow external circumstances to dictate one's internal state. True power comes from the ability to remain steadfast in the face of provocation, to make decisions based on reason rather than reaction, and to continue moving forward without being swayed by momentary feelings. Many confuse emotional control with a lack of feeling, but this is a misunderstanding. To suppress emotions entirely is not the goal, rather, it is about ensuring that emotions serve rather than hinder. There is a vast difference between experiencing an emotion and allowing it to control one's actions. Anger can be useful when directed properly, providing the energy needed to overcome obstacles. Fear can be an effective tool when acknowledged but not obeyed, sharpening awareness rather than causing paralysis. Even sorrow, when not allowed to consume, can serve as a powerful reminder of what matters. The key is to recognize emotions for what they are, signals, not commands. They provide information, but they should never override reason. Those who understand this principle do not waste time dwelling on perceived slights or seeking validation from others. They do not allow rejection to break them or success to make them complacent. They see emotions as waves that rise and fall, but never dictate the course of the ocean. This ability to remain unmoved by temporary feelings grants a level of control that few possess. It allows one to stay focused on long-term goals without being derailed by momentary pain or pleasure. In moments of crisis, this mindset becomes even more crucial. When stakes are high, the ability to remain calm under pressure is what separates leaders from followers. Those who let emotions take hold make poor decisions, often driven by panic or desperation. But those who master their emotions remain level-headed, assessing situations with clarity and responding with precision. Whether in battle, business, or personal struggles, this ability to maintain composure is what defines true power. Beyond crisis situations, emotional control is also essential in day-to-day life. A person ruled by emotions is easily manipulated. They can be provoked into anger, lured into false security, or swayed by empty promises. Those who recognize this avoid becoming easy targets. They do not react to insults with rage, nor do they allow flattery to cloud their judgment. Their strength lies in their ability to remain centered, making choices based on what is best rather than what feels good in the moment. This approach extends to relationships as well. Many allow love, jealousy, or resentment to dictate how they treat others, leading to irrational decisions that often cause more harm than good. Those who understand the power of emotional discipline, however, approach relationships with a sense of balance. They do not cling desperately to affection, nor do they allow anger to consume them in moments of conflict. Instead, they value loyalty and respect, understanding that stability comes from consistency, not from being swayed by every emotional high or low. In the end, those who choose power over emotion are not cold or unfeeling. They are simply unwilling to let fleeting feelings dictate their fate. They recognize that emotions are part of the human experience, but they refuse to be slaves to them. They understand that discipline, clarity, and unwavering focus are the foundations of true strength. Those who play with magnums, who walk the path of power, resilience and control, have little use for roses, for they do not seek fragile beauty or fleeting comforts. Instead, they seek mastery over themselves, for they know that he who conquers himself holds the greatest power of all. Resilience is the foundation of strength, the ability to endure hardship without breaking, to persist when the world pushes back, and to continue forward despite exhaustion, pain, or doubt. Those who choose resilience over comfort understand that ease and luxury do not build character. Struggle, adversity, and hardship are the true tests of one's will, forging an individual into someone unshakable. Comfort, on the other hand, lulls people into complacency, making them fragile and unprepared for the inevitable challenges of life. To prioritize resilience is to embrace discomfort, to willingly endure difficulty for the sake of growth, and to recognize that nothing of true value comes without effort and sacrifice. Comfort is seductive. It promises peace, rest, and relief from struggle. It is the warm embrace of familiarity, the assurance that one does not need to push harder, and the illusion that things will remain easy if one simply stays in place. But comfort is also a trap. It weakens the mind and body, eroding discipline and dulling the sharpness required to face life's uncertainties. Those who become too accustomed to ease find themselves unprepared when adversity inevitably arrives. They panic in hardship, collapse under pressure, and lack the strength to endure because they have spent too long avoiding struggle rather than embracing it. Resilience, in contrast, is built through hardship. It is developed in the moments of suffering, in the times when quitting seems tempting but the choice is made to continue. It is the result of pushing past limits, of enduring discomfort, and of refusing to surrender to pain. Every challenge faced strengthens the will, and every hardship overcome builds a foundation of mental toughness that cannot be easily shaken. Resilient individuals do not seek the path of least resistance, they actively choose the road that forces them to grow, because they understand that discomfort is not the enemy, weakness is. There is no success without struggle. Those who rise above the rest are not the ones who avoided difficulty, but the ones who embraced it, who refused to give in when things became painful, and who found strength in suffering. Athletes, warriors, and leaders are not made in moments of ease, but in the fire of adversity. The body grows stronger through resistance, and so does the mind. Without challenge, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no progress. People who prioritize comfort often seek shortcuts, easy solutions, and ways to avoid effort. They expect rewards without sacrifice, success without hardship, and fulfillment without struggle. But nothing worth having comes easily. Those who are truly strong understand that suffering is the price of greatness. They do not complain about hardship. They welcome it as an opportunity to prove their resilience. Pain is temporary, but the strength gained from enduring it lasts forever. Resilience also demands self-discipline. It requires the ability to deny oneself immediate gratification in favor of long-term strength. Comfort urges people to relax, to take the easy way out, to indulge in what is pleasurable now rather than what is necessary for the future. Resilience, however, demands sacrifice. It requires pushing forward when exhaustion sets in, choosing discipline over indulgence, and accepting that suffering now will lead to strength later. Those who play with magnums do not seek comfort. They do not need the softness of luxury or the illusion of security. They understand that the world does not reward the weak, and that only those who have endured true hardship can stand tall when faced with life's trials. They do not complain about pain, they embrace it as part of the process. They do not seek an easy life, they seek a strong mind, an unbreakable will, and a spirit that cannot be crushed. Comfort is fleeting, but resilience lasts forever. Words are easy. They require no effort, no sacrifice, and no true commitment. Anyone can speak about their intentions, make promises, or claim strength, but in the end, only action determines reality. The world is filled with those who talk endlessly about what they will do, who they are, and what they stand for. Yet when the time comes to act, they hesitate, falter, or fail to move at all. Those who understand the nature of power know that action, not words, defines a person. Deeds shape the world, while words alone are fleeting, forgotten as soon as they are spoken. People often seek comfort in speech, believing that expressing intent is equivalent to fulfilling it. They make grand declarations, seeking recognition for their ideas rather than their accomplishments. They talk of change but do not work for it, speak of discipline but do not practice it, and claim strength but do not prove it. But words without action are nothing more than empty air, illusions that provide the speaker with a false sense of progress, while reality remains unchanged. Those who truly embody power do not waste time explaining themselves, they let their actions make the statement for them. Action requires courage. It is easy to say what one will do, but far harder to actually do it, especially when obstacles arise. Many retreat when faced with difficulty, realizing that the path they spoke so confidently about requires struggle and sacrifice. The strong, however, do not hesitate. They do not need to convince others with words because their actions already reveal their commitment. They understand that movement, persistence, and effort speak louder than any declaration ever could. History remembers those who act, not those who talk. It is not the one who speaks of bravery that is honored, but the one who shows it in the face of fear. It is not the one who discusses discipline that succeeds, but the one who relentlessly applies it. Those who shape the world do not waste time in endless discussion. They act, they execute, and they make things happen. They do not wait for permission or validation. They move forward regardless of opposition, understanding that only action can bring results. A person's true character is revealed not by what they say, but by what they do when it matters most. Promises are meaningless if they are not kept. Plans are worthless if they are never executed. Intentions do not build strength, repetition, effort and perseverance do. The difference between success and failure is action. The difference between the powerful and the weak is action. Those who talk without acting remain stagnant, while those who act without talking move the world forward. The strong do not boast about their potential, they prove it. They do not seek recognition for their words, they seek results. They do not promise, they deliver. In the end, words fade, but actions remain. Power belongs to those who do, not to those who merely say they will. Reality is neither fair nor kind. It does not bend to wishes, nor does it care for what one believes should be. The world operates on its own terms, indifferent to emotions, desires, or illusions. Those who refuse to accept this truth waste their lives in frustration, expecting fairness where none exists and hoping for change without effort. But those who understand the nature of reality, who embrace its harshness rather than resist it, become unshakable. They do not waste time complaining about circumstances, they adapt, endure, and move forward. Acceptance of reality is not weakness, it is the foundation of strength. Many live in denial, clinging to comforting illusions rather than confronting the truth. They believe that life should be easier, that justice is guaranteed, or that their dreams will come true simply because they want them to. They avoid hardship, hoping that things will improve without action. But reality does not change to accommodate wishes. It remains as it is, whether one acknowledges it or not. The longer people resist the truth, the more suffering they bring upon themselves. It is not reality that is cruel, but the refusal to face it. To accept reality is to see the world as it is, not as one wishes it to be. This does not mean giving up or surrendering to circumstances. It means understanding the rules of existence and learning how to operate within them. A person who accepts reality does not waste energy on resentment. They focus on what can be done. If the world is unfair, they do not complain, they prepare. If obstacles stand in their way, they do not despair, they find a way through. While others remain trapped in fantasies, hoping for things to be different. Those who embrace reality move forward, adapting and overcoming. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. Hardship will come, whether one is ready or not. Loss, failure, and disappointment are part of life. Many resist these experiences, trying to avoid them at all costs. But in doing so, they only weaken themselves. Those who accept reality understand that pain is not the enemy, it is a teacher. They do not fear struggle because they know it is necessary for growth. They do not run from failure because they see it as a step towards success. They do not demand that life be easy, they make themselves strong enough to handle its difficulties. Control is an illusion. People believe they can dictate how life unfolds, but the truth is that much lies beyond their influence. The only thing truly within one's control is their own response to circumstances. Those who accept reality focus on what they can change, their actions, their mindset, their discipline. They do not waste time wishing for a different past or waiting for a perfect future. They work with what is in front of them, making the best of what they have. In doing so, they free themselves from frustration and gain a sense of true power, the power over themselves. Those who reject reality live in a constant state of disappointment. They expect fairness and are bitter when they do not find it. They expect happiness without struggle and are confused when it does not come. But those who embrace reality understand that life owes them nothing. They do not wait for permission to succeed, they take action. They do not expect comfort, they prepare for hardship. They do not resist the truth, they master it. Reality does not care about feelings, but it does reward those who understand its rules and act accordingly. Those who accept reality are not defeated by it, they conquer it. Self-sufficiency is the ability to rely on oneself, to stand strong without needing constant support from others, and to take full responsibility for one's life. It is not just about financial independence or physical survival. It is about mental and emotional strength, the ability to navigate life without expecting someone else to solve problems or provide constant reassurance. Those who are truly self-sufficient do not wait for help, nor do they depend on external validation. They trust in their own abilities, make their own decisions, and accept the consequences of their choices without blaming others. Dependence creates weakness. When people constantly rely on others, whether for money, emotional support, or guidance, they never develop the resilience required to face life's challenges on their own. They become fragile, incapable of handling setbacks without falling apart. Self-sufficiency, on the other hand, breeds confidence. It teaches people that they can endure hardship, that they can solve their own problems, and that they do not need to be saved. It builds the kind of strength that does not crumble under pressure. A self-sufficient person does not seek approval to act. They do not hesitate out of fear that others may not agree with their choices. They move forward based on their own judgment, knowing that waiting for validation only leads to stagnation. Their sense of worth does not come from external praise, but from the knowledge that they are capable of handling whatever comes their way. They do not beg for attention or recognition. They simply do what must be done, whether anyone notices or not. True self-sufficiency also means emotional independence. Many people depend on others to make them feel whole, constantly seeking reassurance or companionship to avoid loneliness. But relying on others for happiness is a dangerous game. People change, relationships end, and circumstances shift. Those who tie their emotional well-being to others will always be at the mercy of forces beyond their control. The self-sufficient understand that happiness and peace must come from within, not from outside sources. They do not fear solitude because they are enough on their own. Life is unpredictable, and no one is guaranteed support at all times. Those who learn to rely on themselves are prepared for anything. They do not break when left alone, nor do they crumble when faced with hardship. They know that, in the end, they are their own greatest asset. Strength comes not from what others provide, but from what one builds within. The path of the few is not meant for everyone. It is walked only by those who refuse to live by the expectations of the weak, who reject comfort in favor of strength, and who embrace discipline while others indulge in ease. Most people choose the common road, the path of least resistance, where excuses replace effort and where temporary pleasure is prioritized over lasting achievement. The few, however, do not seek what is easy. They seek what is meaningful. They do not follow the crowd. They carve their own way, often alone, because they understand that true greatness cannot be found in the footsteps of the many. To walk this path requires sacrifice. It means abandoning distractions and rejecting the illusions that keep others content but stagnant. The majority seek security, approval, and effortless happiness, believing that life should be free of hardship. The few understand that struggle is not an obstacle but a necessity. They do not complain about pain. They embrace it as fuel for growth. They do not fear failure. They see it as a lesson that brings them closer to mastery. While others shrink from adversity, the few charge forward, knowing that only through hardship is real strength forged. Discipline separates the few from the many. Most desire success, but only a few are willing to do what is necessary to achieve it. They rise early while others sleep, train while others relax, and work while others make excuses. They are relentless, not because they are forced to be, but because they choose to be. Their commitment is not dependent on motivation, which fades, but on discipline, which endures. While the many seek shortcuts, the few understand that there are none. They accept the long, brutal road, knowing that every step forward is earned, not given. The few do not seek validation. They do not need applause or recognition, for they are not driven by external approval. They move in silence, letting their actions speak. While the many crave acceptance, fearing rejection and judgment, the few stand firm in their beliefs, unconcerned with the opinions of the weak. They are not swayed by trends or manipulated by emotions. They remain focused on their purpose. Independence of thought and action sets them apart, making them untouchable by those who try to control or define them. Not everyone is meant to walk this path. It is lonely, demanding, and often unforgiving. It requires an unbreakable will, a mind that does not bend to pressure, and a heart that does not seek comfort. Those who walk it do so not because it is easy, but because they cannot imagine living any other way. They know that true power is not found in the approval of the crowd, but in the mastery of oneself. While the many remain lost in distraction and mediocrity, the few continue forward, unshaken, relentless, and unstoppable. The path of the few is not for those who seek comfort, nor for those who wait for permission. It is for those who choose discipline over indulgence, action over words, and strength over weakness. It is a road walked alone, not because it must be, but because most will never have the courage to take the first step. The world does not reward those who follow, it remembers those who lead, who endure, and who refuse to surrender to the expectations of the many. In the end, the choice is simple: follow the crowd and remain ordinary, or walk the path of the few and become something greater.